Yeah.
I'm trying to get the record of living.
No,
it's a
that's
tough
great.
goal.
It's a tough goal.
Especially with diabetes, being fat, and having sleep apnea. The cards are stacked against me, but guess what, dude? I'm Ric Flair. I'm gonna break my back and make it another 70 years in wrestling.
We're back in with Jaywalking. I'm excited because I got Jimmy Mack in the studio with me today. How you doing?
I'm great, dude. It's great to be here.
Dude, how do we... Because every time I've only had one other guest. You're only my second guest ever. And I always started off with the same with him is, how did we meet each other?
Okay, so I believe I got a contact from somebody about you, which was Dan D'Aprio.
I think then who was my first guest.
Yeah.
So that's so poetic.
Yeah. And I went to college. I went to Westchester.
That's
and we were in a bunch of writing classes. And he was like, I said, dude, you got to come on my show. And he was like, I have this friend named Jay. He's a good comedian. He'll come on. And I was like, all right, cool. Because I love talking to anybody. I love talking. That's my favorite thing to do. So if I can do it, make people better, interesting people, interview people, great. So I reached out and you got right back to us. And I was like, cool, you're in. And then you came on and we had a great time.
I had no idea what I was getting into. I had zero idea because I was just like, oh, I'm in. Like I'd go on a podcast, same deal. I would like to talk. And then I was like, oh, brutal dudes. And then I'm like, and you guys have so much knowledge in your brain of like all of the stuff that like my whole childhood is about. Like, anything from like cartoons to like sports to travel. I was like wrestling. Like there was just so much knowledge. I'm always jealous of people like that, or people who like can quote stats or know stuff. So it was so intriguing because then I came on again at least one other time.
Yeah, I think once or twice.
Yeah, so it's been really cool. So yeah, you guys got to check out Brutal Dudes. Every time it's so interesting meeting people because when Dan was on, we talked about sort of making friends after when you're an adult and like how it's a weird thing, but now it's always based on common interests and things like that. And so yeah, it's always interesting to see how I've met people now. Even like we were talking earlier, my producer Matt was a student of mine, so I think it's so cool when you see the company people keep. I was joking with my students because I teach Latin that, they're all caught up with social media right now and followers. But I was like, we'll talk about the ancient Romans. And back in the day, like if you were a wealthy person, you literally had people who would sit outside your house until you left for the day to literally follow you through the forum. And that's how you showed that you had prestige because you had all these people in your entourage. And I'm like, those were the real followers, not somebody on their toilet.
It was
like clicking for you.
It was Roman. Well, I mean, let's be honest. Ancient Rome was probably a little more like a toilet than we all acknowledge.
Yeah,
right. but it's very similar to what's happening now, and it's you don't even really need to be to have any kind of prestige, and people just follow you because you're there. It's very similar to a lot of other things that are going on in the world.
Well, it's true. It's like, post something on my wall. People would literally rent out. If you had a house that was like the wall was facing a street, you would rent that space for people to write something on your wall. Like it is like legit.
Great.
It's so funny. Like the Hunger Games made me realize that because I don't know if you read that series or watched the movies, but that whole series was basically someone who had really studied Roman and Greek mythology and their civilization and then said, hey, what would it look like in the future? Or what would it look like?
I'm a very big fan of I like the Hunger Games, but I'm a very big fan of the one of the bases for that, which is called Battle Royale. It's a Japanese. I don't know what the genre is called, but it's real gory.
Okay.
They take a class of kids every year because of overpopulation, and they send them to an island, and they give them. It's just random class chosen. But they send them to an island, and they give them a bag of weapons. Some weapons are like a pot lid. Some weapons are like a chainsaw. And they let the kids. They have it's like a week or something to kill each other till the last person, and the sole survivor gets to live and move on and becomes like a champion. It's very much like the Hunger Games.
It's like very.
But it's awesome. At one point, I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody, so if you're listening, you can cover your ears. But at one point, they chop a guy's head off, and the extra person that's in the class takes the guy's head and puts a live grenade in it and rolls it into the room with another couple of kids and then kills like 3 more kids. Wow. But every time a kid dies, it marks them off on like a list and X's off their face, like on camera, like on screen. The other thing that's cool about the movie is that it brings up these since we were talking about like how things have evolved, it brings up like it's like watching a high school movie, like High School Musical, where like people are like have crushes on each other, and they're like they don't like the girls don't trust each other while they're in a room together. It's very much like high school dynamics, but with murder.
And I love how you were like, and you know what's cool about it?
You know, I don't want to just see like people stabbing in head. You know, it's amazing, but the actual stories behind it, like there's a group of kids that are sports nerds, but they end up being super smart with mechanics. So they get a radio signal to go off the island, but then they get attacked, and it's like there's all this stuff going on, and it's a whole class of kids. And they still are able to tell a narrative with a main character, a main love interest, and one central guy. It's really good. Really good movie.
What's the name of it?
Battle Royale.
I don't know if I can. I have to microdose stuff like that because like my brain can't handle it.
It's a lot.
You know what I mean? Like I
lot.
can't. Like I used even scary movies as a kid. Like I had older cousins, and if we'd like stay over, like they would watch Chucky or something like that, like Child's Play, and I had to like go like peek around the corner for a second, and watch, and then like go run away for a while and like calm down because like it's overwhelming. It's like it's just so much. But I am intrigued. I think we all at some level. That's why like women love true crime. You know, like we're intrigued by the madness of it. Like we just went on a cruise recently, and my wife had never been on one, and so I look in bed and she's doom scrolling on TikTok, and what's on her algorithm? All the horror stories. And like ships in the North Sea, and like, and then her phone must have started talking to my phone through just being open. And I kid you not, right before we got on the ship that morning, I pop open like Instagram, and there's a video of a cruise ship that's now sideways, and people are like jumping off of it. And I'm like, I couldn't unsee it, and I tried to tell myself I didn't see it. But I knew the whole day I saw it, and it was like it's like going on a plane after you just watched a plane crash. And I'm just like, what? I can't think about this right now because I'm gonna die. I'm gonna eat all the good food on day one, and we're just gonna see
Lawrence Welk or whoever perform, and then
oh my god,
similar to that, I had the same thing happened to me with Skinwalkers. I just happened to like hear about the word Skinwalker.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
No.
Okay, so they're these creatures in like Arizona desert or something that they're Native American. If you do something evil, like you kill a baby, or you like or you commit it,
they're like karma. They come for you.
Commit a sin, and then you get cursed to be a skinwalker. So you can take the form of an animal, but you like kill a dog, and then you're that dog.
Yeah.
But like there's videos of like dogs walking on their hind legs and like smiling creepily, and ever since then it always pops up in my feed. Like it'll be like Philadelphia Eagles WrestleMania Skinwalker, and I'm like, stop putting Skinwalkers. I don't want to see it anymore. It's terrifying. I don't want my dog to jump up in my bed on its hind legs and smile at me and be like, hey guy, I need to go out. Like, no, I'm good.
That's what's so bad about now. Like think about back in the day. Like I remember getting TV, and like what would happen is every Sunday, if you got the Sunday paper, you got the TV guide that had the week of what was going to be on, and your little guide, and you'd flip to the pages of the day, and then you'd wait. You'd wait, or you would not go somewhere so that you could watch it. And very few people would have a VCR and maybe tape a show.
Oh, yeah. Back in the day.
My grandfather was good like that. Like, we would go visit him, and they lived in Limerick up here, but we were from Scranton. And so when we'd make the trip down, Limerick wasn't developed like it was now. It was just the power plant and, like, trees and forests and farm. And he would legitimately spend the entire year taping Saturday morning cartoons and put them on their own individual VHS. And he would even take off the commercials. Like he would pause it during the
I found out how to do that later on.
I mean, this is like 80s. We're talking like late 80s. So like whenever you would go to my Grammy and Pop-Pop's house, they had one of those old school. Did you ever see the pull-out drawers on top of the big TV that was on the ground? And you would just see She-Ra, He-Man, Smurfs. I mean, like Thundercats. Like my cousin actually still has them, I think.
That's awesome.
But it's just like that, like, and now all of a sudden everything's on demand, or things will pop up. They're like, oh, you were just thinking about this. Here, why don't you watch this now? And it's like so insane to think about being a kid and what we had to do to now thinking about, wow, like I could just think something sometimes and it pops up.
You know what's maddening too about that? I find now that everything's streaming. I'm a physical media type of guy, so I've always been. I had big movie collections. I still have all my DVDs and Blu-rays. But you'll think of something, you'll be like, I remember that movie, and I'll tell you the movie that it is in a second. But you'll go to find that movie, and you either have to sign up for like 6 different subscription services,
Right?
or you have to pay wherever you're going to watch this one movie. When you could just buy it for $6 and have it forever.
Yeah.
I still don't like streaming is cool immediately. Like if you're like, I just want to watch something as background noise, or I need to check this movie out while it's new. But like if you want long-term stuff, streaming sucks.
Yeah.
Renaissance Man, Danny DeVito, the movie. You know what I'm
Yes,
talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Fantastic movie. You cannot get it for free like anywhere.
Why is it like that? My Cousin Vinny was that for me.
My Cousin Vinny.
Because like it'd be a movie that I'd just be sitting that I'd be like, you know what? I could go for a movie that I've just always watched. Because I was the kind of person that's how I would go to bed at night. Like I would pop a VHS in of what like The Babe with John Goodman.
Ah, great.
That was like
totally historically inaccurate, but
like,
such a great movie.
When I was like
Such a great
10,
movie.
that was legitimately what I would put in. Like in college, I had one of those TV VCR combos.
Yeah,
I was
dude.
actually telling Matt's crew about it. And like every day, my uncle had the Columbia House subscription, right? So you get all these. So he had boxes of stuff. And right before I went to college, he's like, take what you want. So I basically played 2 movies nonstop. Tommy Boy
Oh, great movie.
and From Dusk Till Dawn.
yeah.
It was like the 2 very different movies, but like those were like my 2 go-to because I would just, we get in a rhythm. You like something, you want to see it again. It's like comedy too sometimes. Like if I see Jim Gaffigan, I want to hear about Hot Pockets, like
I watch Dave Chappelle stuff over and over and over
Sticks
and
and
over.
Stones. I will, if I can't find anything else on Netflix, I'll put on Sticks and Stones because I love his opening joke about the guy that he ran into from Foot Locker and the Anthony Bourdain thing, and how he brings it back. Like that whole opening bit is like epic. I love it. So yeah, it's just funny how, and it's so cool now thinking of what we had to do or what my grandfather had to do that now an algorithm does, or thinking about stuff like AI now, and teachers, being a teacher, like that's something. Teachers need to get on board with that stuff because we can teach kids to leverage ChatGPT for good. Like we could say, hey, like write something. I could say write something in a foreign language, then put it in ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT.
That's correct.
Or even just not even that. Ask ChatGPT to say, hey, I'm in Spanish 1. Can you look this over and tell me some things I need to study or think about? Yeah. And then it'll tailor it to what a Spanish 1 student should be thinking about, not just Spanish in general and overwhelm you.
Yeah.
But it'll tailor it to what you
Well, not only that, but the specific, because especially with language, learning a language, there's specific things that you're just not good at. Yep. I can read Spanish easy. Speaking it, I can say the words. Yep. There's a band called Puya. They're Puerto Rican, and they're great. They're a metal band.
Yeah.
I can say the lyrics 100%. Sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
I have no idea what I'm saying, but I can say the words very well.
I was that way with lyrics in general. Like even in English, like I couldn't hear the lyrics properly, and I used to get beat up on the bus because I just didn't listen to music a lot. Like my parents were listening to like the Village People or Anne Murray, like, and then I'd go on the school bus and I'd be like, do you know like Def Leppard? Do you know AC/DC? And if I said no, they would punch me.
That's stupid.
And and I was like, so then I would say yes, but then they would ask me a follow-up question, like name a song.
Oh, I hate that. I hate
follow-up
questions. That's why I have so much knowledge. It's because I hated being caught in the follow-up question.
I went home every day off the bus, and I went to watch. I watched MTV like it was Khan Academy. Okay, like I watched MTV like I was studying for pre-algebra.
Hey.
And like in that back then, it was music videos the whole time. It wasn't Snooki hadn't ruined everything yet.
Yeah.
So it was just, and I did that. But then all of a sudden, all they would play was Ace of Base, The Sign, and they never asked me about Ace of Base, The Sign.
Right. Come on, you know the crazy story about Ace of Base, right?
No.
Oh,
I know you do.
Mike told me this. This is crazy. Originally, as a band, they started as a skinhead Nazi band. They were like full on skinhead. It didn't take off. So they were like,
don't say.
We need to make, right. Crazy that there's not a niche for that, right? So, there's no real demand in public for that sort of music. I mean, look, let's be honest though. Seriously, if they're German, so like if they were in Germany, that'd be the place where I would expect that would go over the best. I'm not saying that it should go over.
No.
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying if you're looking for places, if I'm going to the jungle, if I want a jungle flavored treat, I'm going to go to the jungle. I'm not going to go to like the forest.
Now I want to know what the sign was.
So right, well, so they were like, let's change this up. So we need to make money. So they went completely the other way, and they started making I Saw the Sign. All That She Wants Is Another Baby. They just did that. And it's like they were successful. But like if you go back to their past, like they denounced their past, but they were a full-on
That's so
skinhead.
crazy.
It's crazy. That's the type of stuff you were mentioning earlier about that. Mike tells me that stuff, and I'm like, and I love Mike. Mike, I love you, but sometimes I'm like, that can't be true, and I'll look it up while he's sitting there next to me, and it'll be in my phone, and I'll be like, after like the first or second time of knowing him, of doing that, I'm like, I trust everything he says now. It's sad that I'm that much of a follower, but I'm like, I'm not even going to look it up because both times I did, it was 100% right.
And now right after the Skinwalkers on your feed, Ace of Base Nazis.
Ace of Base and Abraham Lincoln potentially being not straight.
That's funny. That's
the other thing Mike told me, and there's proof. There's written proof. I'm like, no, there's no way. And I looked it up, and I'm like, he's right.
People with trivia do that. While we were on the cruise ship, they didn't have a lot of activities, but a lot of them were trivia stuff. And I was like, I'm just not.
Apparently, they had one big activity, which was losing your shit.
Dude, can I tell you? No, you're fine. Right? Okay. You're fine. Yeah. So for those of you who haven't seen my feed the last week, we went on a beautiful cruise. First off, my wife and I are teachers. When it comes to break time, and I intentionally didn't schedule any gigs for the week, I said, let's just go on a vacation because when I'm on the road so much and I'm doing all this stuff, it's got to be for something. And so we have extra money now. So we're like, okay, let's try to go on 2 vacations because our goal was always to do 1 vacation a year as a family just to get away. Usually it was like Rehoboth Beach. And now we've been afforded the opportunity to do a couple vacations a year. And so we saved up and we brought my mom too. Because one, she loves cruises. She took me on my first cruise, and we're caring for her now. She's in her 70s. She's spent her whole life caring for other people, so we wanted to bring her too. So we got a second room, so it costs a little bit more, but we're like, it'll be worth it because they can hang out with grandma. Maybe me and Amanda could be able to go out at night. Perfect scenario. Cruise was great. My one daughter loved the pool. My other daughter's autistic, so we were kind of nervous on how they were all going to react because they had never been on a cruise before. Everything was wonderful. Food was great, really good. Went on Carnival, but it turned into a circus. And it was after everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. I knew what I was getting into. We signed up for Carnival because it was cheaper, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the getting off the ship, they had no plan for how my 70-year-old mother who needed a wheelchair, my autistic daughter, and the 5 of us were going to get off together. And when it was the last day, it's all the people who've been on the ship all week, so they're burnt out from working the whole time. They're just trying to get people off, and everybody's trying to get off at the wrong time, so all the staff is assuming everybody's trying to pull one over on them, and I'm just trying to get my family off. So at one point, they're like, it's not your time. They tried to shove us on an elevator. I'm like, no, my mom has a cane. She's trying to get to the wheelchair area, and they're like, oh, okay, and Amanda got separated because she got on the elevator when they pushed us,
right,
and the doors closed, so she got separated from right the get-go. Finally met us at the point. We start getting off, and then it's madhouse. It's like the biggest freeway you've ever seen with merging traffic. So I went up front with my wife, or my mom, and my younger daughter. Amanda got separated behind me with Alicia, my autistic daughter. And all of a sudden, I'm off the ship, and I'm starting to go down the ramps towards, the customs area. And I hear somebody yelling, and I'm like, oh, that's my daughter, and she's yelling, and where's my wife? And so now I'm a big salmon going upstream, trying to go through these people, and it's these little gangways. And we're big guys. I'm going up. I'm the biggest salmon that's ever gone upstream, and it's long gangways. So I had to tell people to back up like you're on a 1-lane bridge to get off. And I get to my daughter, I get her back. I'm like, where's your mom? I have to fight. I get her to my mom, and I fight to go back to get to Amanda. Couldn't find her. They held her up because they didn't log properly that we returned the autism sensory bag. The only thing they did for autism was had a sensory bag from this amazing organization in Culture City.
So they actually work with the Phillies too.
They do, yeah, and the Eagles, and it's amazing. And so they thought we didn't turn it in. We turned it in, but the guy at the desk, Jonathan, didn't log it properly. And so when my daughter scanned her card to get off the ship, it was green. When my wife scanned it, it was red, and they stopped her. And she's like, hey, that's my daughter. And Alicia is like a spacewalker. So even in the 73 seconds or whatever they logged it from when they scanned my daughter's to when they scanned Amanda's, she's now swept up in the crowd and doesn't realize her mom's not with her because she's got her headphones on and she's just, just existing. Everything's stimuli is overwhelming her. And then she finally gets, 30, 40 feet, all these people around, realizes her mom's not behind her and starts yelling. And it's like panic mode at that point. And then that's when it all happened. So I got everybody reunited. We're fine. Nobody got hurt. But then we got to customs. We got through. My mom had to give up her wheelchair because they needed it for another guest because it was taking so long. So they sat her on a bench. And then finally, we're like, well, we're not going to wait for you to go find another wheelchair. So
we're not going to flip somebody out of the wheelchair so you can.
Yeah. And it was just, so we get through, we get to customs, we get loaded up, we get on the bus, we go to the parking lot, and then we took separate cars. So I didn't realize the roller bag that had my CPAP and our toiletries wasn't with us. I thought Amanda had it. Amanda thought I had it. 2 separate cars. We drive to the hotel that night. I'm ready to go to bed. I'm like, oh, I need my machine. It must be down in her car. She's like, it's not down there. I'm like, what do you mean it's not down there? And that's when we realized, oh, in the madness of all of that, I let go of it to go find Alicia. And it never occurred to me because of all of the stuff that, and then I was just so livid that they were holding back my wife from getting to our autistic child because we didn't turn in the free autism bag on Autism Awareness Month. That is madness.
Yeah.
Like that is
it's crazy,
insane to me. And they made her go. They made her go to another part, and the only reason she agreed was because she could keep a line of sight on Alicia as she went from the one exit to the other security point. But she said there were like 3 or 4 security guys all around. All they had to do was walk with her to go get Alicia and then come back and we'll settle whatever your friggin' hold on the account is.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you not? And so Amanda said she just threw her stuff down. She's like, here's all my stuff as collateral. I'm going to go get my daughter. And but by then I had already caught up with her. And,
right.
But like, man, like what an insane
and you'd think that something so little.
Yeah.
Like pull them both aside, be like, here, wait, ma'am, get your daughter. Pull them both aside and just say, hey, we're just going to fix this and then it's done.
But these people were robots at that point. Like their brains were so turned into not being human. And that was my whole experience. It was like I was not dealing with humans because then I immediately wrote an email. As we were on the bus going to the parking lot, I was already working on the email to send to them immediately. So before we left the parking lot, I already kicked out the email. Culture City within 20 minutes, because I looped them in, not because they had any responsibility in this whatsoever, but just so they knew this is what was happening because of their sensory bags that they had generously donated. And they got back to me within 20 minutes. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I can't believe that we are speechless. Like all of the proper things you should say to somebody in that moment. Carnival doesn't even kick me back an email to say they received mine. I sent it via the normal channels on their website. I found the CEO and the secretary to the CEO's email, sent them separate, same message, but in separate venues. I mean, I attacked it. You can't call Carnival. They just direct you to the website. And so we did everything we could. Nothing. They don't hear back from them. Culture City got a hold of them. And then 3 days later, they finally sent me an email saying they received my message and it would take 30 days for them to do research. Not I'm sorry, not oh my goodness, not anything that was an emotion. I don't know if ChatGPT wrote it for them, but even ChatGPT I feel like would have had emotions.
AI would have been, look, the Terminators were nice to you before they murdered you. They could at least pop up.
That blew my mind that a company that's thousands couldn't get back to me right away. And again, it was Easter weekend, so I give them some grace on the Saturday, Sunday thing, but like, and then it was
You're nicer than I would have been. I would have been. I wouldn't even given them grace.
And I wrote them a super strongly worded email with zero.
Yeah, I read it. It was very professional.
And I just sent that, and I couldn't believe it. And then they get back to me, and then they finally called me, and even the woman just sounded like she was trying to say she was sorry.
Yeah.
She's like, we've pinpointed some things in which we could improve, I think was her wording. And I was like, oh, so you're sorry. Oh, okay. Is that what you're trying to say?
ChatGPT, can you translate? Can you translate retail speak for me, please?
It's like, and the poor woman, and I get it. She's British. A lot of I don't know if there's just a cultural difference in what they feel like.
That might have made me a little angrier because that proper British voice, like being condescending to you, like, well, sir, we haven't found your machine, but we've pinpointed some things that could potentially be things we could improve on. Focus Christian areas.
Right, and that's true. Now if I think you might know, but like I grew up with 2 moms, and my other mom was Australian and had an accent like that. So for me, it's quite the opposite. It reminds me of her. So it was very like.
Well, you've had training with it, but I had a deaf roommate for a while, so I can like when people can't hear, like when they're talking, I'm like, they can't hear, they're deaf. I can point it out.
But my other mom, Colleen, had like love in her heart, so it was like it definitely was different. And but yeah, so I just couldn't believe all of that. And then the worst part is, and then I put in the lost item thing, all of that. and still nothing's happening. I call my doctor Monday morning, the first thing to say, hey, I need a loaner. I called the place that I get it from. They're like, oh, we don't do loaners.
Oh, dude.
Like, what do you mean you don't do loaners?
I totally feel you. I have an apnea machine as well.
Yeah.
And I am currently not happy with, I'm just going to say it, 7th Street Medical Supply.
Yeah, I guess.
They won't send me supplies because I didn't go to my follow-up appointment because the place that I'm going, the doctor, they're switching to Temple Health.
Okay.
So they're transitioning. They're like, we're having trouble booking stuff. We're using a whole new computer system.
Yep.
We'll get to you. We'll call you and we'll book the appointment when we're settled and ready. This company said we can't send. I'm out of nose things.
Yeah.
They can't send me any until I go to the appointment. And I'm like, can't you just give me it like on? I have the appointment scheduled.
Yeah.
Can't you just give me it on like proxy or whatever? And they're like, no. I was like, oh, so I'm just supposed to use dirty used materials for this machine that's supposed to be keeping me alive while I sleep.
Yeah.
And the lady she didn't have an answer. And I was like, if you say yes, I'm coming to your office and I'm going to damage things. And she's like, well, I just, that's our policy. And I was like, that's cool. What if I die?
Yeah.
And she's like, what? And I was like, what if I die because of your policy? Is my family going to get the money? Am I going to get some sort of residual? Are you going to like at least pay for the funeral so I don't, so you don't use like used stuff to throw me in a grave because we can't afford it because I didn't go to the doctor? Because I died without a doctor's visit. I was like, that's the most goddamn ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's great. Well, and that, like, when I talked to them on Monday, it was back and forth. They're like, oh, well, I had to find a place. I find a place. They then send the script to them. I confirm Monday night because I thought I could go get it Monday night after they confirmed the script. No, they're like, oh, well, yeah, we got it from your doctor, but it takes 48 hours once we put it in our system to process. So I call Wednesday. They're like, oh, yeah, they forgot to put a date on the script. So now it starts all over again. And then I call back on Thursday and they're like, oh, yeah, we don't do loaners. I'm like, what are you even talking? I'm like, and she was talking the process. I'm like, I know you can't say this out loud to me, but you hear how crazy you sound, right? Like you hear how if a normal person like myself was on the phone who needed a machine to breathe at night and sleep and they had to listen to what you just said for the last 30 seconds, you could see in your heart. I know you can't say anything, Marie, but I know in your heart right now, you sound absolutely batshit crazy.
You can't say yes, but let's use a code word. Say Andre the Giant if you agree with what I'm saying.
I was like this, and then go figure. FedEx fine. I threaten Carnival with I don't say legal action. At no point do I say legal action. I just say listen, I need to make this abundantly clear to you. You were 5 hours away. I will go drive it now because they kept saying they were FedExing it. I'll send you the tracking numbers. But it took 24 hours for them to send me the tracking numbers. I'm like, I will drive the 5 hours and go get it so I can get a good night's sleep. And then they just still nothing. And then I send a very strongly worded email. And then all of a sudden, not only did they get back to me with the tracking number, but then they also say, we're refunding you your fare.
Good.
Yeah. And I said, they should have refunded me what I spent on the ship too, but that's fine. I'll take the fund and we'll go there. And then I immediately booked a Royal Caribbean cruise.
There you go.
I was like, they already sent me all the stuff that they do for autism. I was able to call and talk to somebody on the phone within seconds.
This is me. I would have sent them the emails and been like, look at the problem that I had with Carnival. Yeah. Look at how terrible they are. And have them be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, we'll
make sure you don't have this same situation happen again. Here's some extra incentives just to make sure.
They were great. They were already great. No, I listen. And even having to do it on social media like I did, because I think it helped. I was like, you know what? I have about 60,000 followers. Let me leverage that because, listen, I don't want to be a crazy, angry guy. But I also need people to be held accountable because I can't live in a world that's the Twilight Zone. And then to have my doctor just let this all happen and not know I was going 6 days without a CPAP when you see the data that I use it every goddamn night. And now I'm telling you.
How bad are you?
Real bad. Super severe.
They told me I have Reggie White apnea.
Yeah,
it's like 70 times a night I wake up.
So it's insane. And I'm like, how could you, a doctor, not just be like, hey, just swing around back. I got an extra machine in here. I put your data in it, so it's the proper one. Because God love it. I had somebody people offer me to give me theirs. But, I don't know what home that was in. I had one. Somebody gave me great. I'm so thankful. I'm not going to say who it was. Gave me one. But then, I opened it up. All where the reservoir tank is, dog hair.
Ooh.
And I'm just like, I was so desperate. I was still so desperate. That I thought, well, maybe this will be better.
You know what?
And I'm just like, and I was just like, man, like, it's insane to me that they could allow that to happen to people. And that's the world we live in right now. So to think I said to myself the other night, I was like, dude, I hope I die. I hope I die so that the CEO of Penn Medicine, the CEO of Carnival, both of their testicles, if they have them, get gold dipped and delivered to my daughters.
Yeah.
And then they can take one to go to put on any admissions desk in any college so that they're set. And then they save the other one for their first house. And that way is better than any insurance policy I ever had, because and like I so sad that I was having that sadistic thought, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get these guys one way or another.
Here's an even more interesting thought that I've contemplated, right? So after I did my after I got the apnea and I got diagnosed and I was like, oh man, I guess I have it. They put me in, they did everything. I was talking to my dad after like a week of using the machine. I only have one episode like a night.
Same.
And I'm like,
do you use the app, My Air?
Yeah.
I love
it's
that.
Great, isn't it great?
Well, for me, it's like a game. Like, oh, how did I do last night? I got a 95 last night.
Damn, I got to get better. Yeah. I got to start working out more and do it. Yeah, but I'll look at it and I was like, how did I go from 70 an hour to 1?
Yeah,
and I'm like, do I really need this machine, or are they trying to find more ways to make me spend money? As a medical,
it's like a Joe Rogan.
I know it's, and I don't want to. I'm not that into. Listen. I'm not sure that we landed on the moon when we did. I'm sure we've been there now, but I don't know that we did it at that exact time because it was so opportune. But whatever. That's a weird conspiracy theory that I take into. I don't think Elvis and Hitler are in a bunker somewhere making music. But I look at it and I'm like, how badly do I really need this machine?
Yeah.
If it's fixed that quickly, because most medical stuff takes a while for your body to get used to it. In a week, I was down to 1 episode, and I'm like, did they just see an opening to like sell a CPAP machine? I don't want to think that.
Well, I know last night was the first night I've had it in 6 nights, and I don't feel better. Like as soon as I got here, I'm like, Matt, do you have Advil? Because I still had like a headache. But I'll tell you what, I woke up so different than I woke up the other couple nights, and I know it's going to take a couple consistent nights again of me, but I could tell that it's that gradual process.
I have seen an improvement. Like I'll drive. I used to drive long distance, and like anytime I would start to fall asleep. I thought it was diabetes. Yep. It's not. It's not sleeping enough. And I'm like, it's scary. I guess it's crazy. I'm like, that's insane.
We got so many cool things left to do in life that I don't. I want all the days that I got ahead of me.
Yeah, man. The doctor said 40 years at least, and I was like, Doc, I'm going to push for 110. I want to set the record. So I'm trying to get the record. Of living. No, it's a tough goal.
It's a tough goal.
Especially with diabetes, being fat, and having sleep apnea. The cards are stacked against me, but guess what, dude? I'm Ric Flair. I'm gonna break my back and make it another 70 years in wrestling.
Dude, well, before we're wrapping it up now, I wanted to thank you for coming. I also want to give you a chance to plug anything. I know we talked about Brutal Dudes. You have anything else you want to plug before we
so we're gonna be so we had a couple of big name guests that if you want to check it, if anybody that's out there listening wants to check out Brutal Dudes, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, pretty much anywhere you can find stuff except Sirius, because they don't pay us to put the stuff on. We're trying to do it without that. We had one of the Hanson brothers from Slapshot recently.
I saw that.
Yeah, dude, it was cool. He was such a great interview, and he's such a good dude. We are currently we're talking to. I'm trying to get Adrian Paul from the Highlander.
Yeah.
And I actually just have to email them. Wheatus is going to come on. They just finished touring. They're going to come on. And we had speaking of She-Ra and He-Man, we had a guy that directed a bunch of those episodes. His name's Tom Cook.
Wow.
He also did the animation from Paul Abdul's Opposites Attract video. And remember the movie Stay Tuned?
Yeah.
Okay, so he did the animated part with the cat. He did the animation.
Crazy.
He directed it. Great guy. Another good interview. That's about to be coming out. But
heck yeah, check out Brutal Dudes. That's
a lot
awesome.
of good. And then we have our music. We have the Mike's in the Rust Belt, the band of Rust Belt. So I'm plugged the Rust Belt. Their new album, their new EP is coming out because their lead singer recently committed suicide. So, but they have a new singer and they got a new album coming out. Mike's got a Pagan album coming out, and as Brutal Dudes, we're doing Turtles in Time. We're doing the Ninja Turtles video game music as metal.
Yes.
Mike and I are doing some metal stuff. Look out for that track coming soon. That's called The Natives Are Restless. And then we're going to be working on I can announce this on here because we're now officially allowed. We're going to be doing an Ozzy Osbourne cover album called Skazi Osbourne.
Dude.
So it's ska versions of Ozzy songs with horns and stuff.
Check out Jimmy Mack wherever you get wherever your socials. I know he's on Instagram and Facebook and Brutal Dudes. Yeah, dude, thank you so much for coming.
And now I've been on Jaywalking, so I'm happy.
Now we've been Jaywalking, so thanks for Jaywalking with me.
No problem, dude.
All right, man, have a good one.